see everyone.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We are in day 3 of the Embodiment Festival, and there's some very lovely people here in the room that have been coming to so many sessions, so many familiar faces now. Thank you for turning your cameras on. It's so good for us to see you, and our lovely speakers really do like to see faces. There is still time to sign up, so please invite your friends. The recordings will be available for free at the end of this week for about 48 hours. And as you know, this festival is free. It precedes the biggest event that Embodiment Unlimited do, that we do, which is the Certificate of Embodiment Coaching, and KEC, as we like to call it. Oh, we've both put that in. Thank you very much. That starts in February. So if this is your thing, if you're a facilitator, if you're a coach or a would-be, or you just want to deepen your embodiment skills, then KEC, is an incredible course. And in fact, all of us have done it. Virginia and I have done it. Thea and David actually did the original one,
Yeah,
the
we're old
in-person one.
school in person.
OG, man, OG.
That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, I'm going to share my screen just to remind you what else is coming up, if I can find it. Here we go. So we are on day 3. Let's go the other way. We're still early in day 3. And today we've got David Brown and Thea Crockett, not Thea Allison. And after this, at 12 o'clock, is Miles Kessler. Later, we've got Vanessa Schultz, followed by Henika Patel, Michaela Boehm, Unleashing Your Wild Woman. I've heard Michaela speak before, and that is something that it'll be a fantastic session. Jeff Brown at 5 o'clock UK time. Flower Evelyn demonstrating coaching at 6 o'clock UK. And the one that occurs at 2 a.m. UK time is for the benefit of the people a little bit further around the world than us, so that it's in daytime for you, with Jenna Linden. And then tomorrow is also a pretty packed day. So I'll stop that share. But today, now, we've got 2 of my favorite people in the world. David Brown and Thea Crockett. And David and Thea do a lot of work together, but they're actually both individual people as well. They both have their own realms of work as well. And David is an embodied leadership coach, inner leadership coach. You do a load of work, David, and a lot of work around addressing critical self-talk. I nearly said giving people critical self-talk, and you don't do that. You address
Quite the opposite. Yeah,
quite the opposite. And I'm going to put David's website here. Thea is a coach, and you do a lot of work with intuition and inherent creativity, don't you, Thea? And you can each talk a bit more about what you do if you want to, just to give people a bit of idea. And I like this phrase of embodied creating for personal satisfaction through imagination, body interaction, and creative energy. And Thea's website is here. But together, they also do something very special, which is all about archetypes, and specifically the sovereign archetype, which is what they're going to talk about today. And they have a session coming up out there in the real world that you can also have a look at. And I put that, and you might tell us a little bit more about that. Without taking up any more time, please let me hand over to you both. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Helen. So I'm going to kick off. Really warm welcome to everyone here. It's lovely to be here with you. Really great to be at another Embodiment Unlimited event. I find their gatherings just really inspiring and great quality speakers. So it's really a great honor to be among those speakers this time, and to be with you all. So I'm going to have a very, very brief introduction, because we only have a little bit of time, and mostly what we want to give you is an experience of what we do with embodying the sovereign archetype and sovereign leadership in life. David and I, as Helen said, met on the Embodied Facilitators course some years ago now. that is now Keck. If you're considering it, I would highly, highly recommend you just sign up and do it, because for me, it was life-changing, and without it, I wouldn't have this beautiful partnership with my best buddy, David, and the great work that we're doing in the world today. So yeah, 5 years ago, we did our training with Mark, and then COVID hit, and through COVID, we helped deliver the embodiment circles, particularly working around embodying the archetypes. And so over the 5 years that we've been delivering this work, we realized just how valuable it is to have an archetype as a central idea, and embodying that archetype, the breadth of information it gives you about the qualities that are available to you, qualities that might be less available to you that you want to develop, habits that you might want to soften or become less reliant upon, is really rich, and it's very accessible. And so we've continued the work through the archetypes, particularly of sovereign, of warrior, lover, and magician. But recently, focusing more fully on sovereign leadership and accessing all the other archetypes through that portal of sovereign. So they're still there, but they're just kind of retargeted around the idea of sovereign leadership. So what we found is that ability to embody an archetype gives you this range, gives you this stretch very easily. And then we've honed it down to a technique that we're going to share with you today called sovereign dialogue. And sovereign dialogue is very simply embodying the archetype that you're thinking about, and then allowing information to flow through you. With writing, it can be through dance, it can be movement, but we mostly use in our sessions writing as the way of capturing the information we get from sovereign. And it just gives you a new source of information to focus your day, focus your work or your activity. And it's very easily accessible. It's very simple to do. So David's going to lead you through that embodiment in a moment, and then I'll take you through the sovereign dialogue. The only other point we wanted to make is that we work with sovereign, but sovereign can be very different for different people. So it's unique to you. One of the expressions I like about sovereign leadership is that it's leadership that's as you are. And so for my sovereign, qualities that I get about sovereign might be different to the ones you get. And the ones that I get tomorrow will be different to the ones I got today. So it's a very fluid feast and very personally tailored to you, your circumstances, who you are, and what you think is important in the world. So we're just going to give you an experience of that today. And we're going to start off with David taking us into a sovereign centering as our starting point. So I'll hand over to him.
Thank you, Thea. Great introduction, and welcome everybody. So we're limited with time, so I'm not going to do any kind of introduction. I'm just going to get straight into it. So I appreciate some people might be, I don't know, having a lunch break, or they might be having a sort of a late morning break or something like that. So you might be eating something or drinking something. If you'd rather just keep doing that, then obviously you can just sit and observe. But if you want to get more out of it, then I strongly encourage you to join in with what it is that I'm doing. You can do it sitting, but I'm actually going to do it standing. So for anyone who would like to stand with me, then please do so. But for everyone else, please feel free to just remain sitting. You can even lie down as well. So if you are standing, then just to take a moment to kind of arrange yourself where your feet are about shoulder width apart, and that you're just taking a moment to let your arms hang down by your sides and feeling your contact with the floor. And if you're sitting, to also feel your contact with the floor in whatever way. If you're sitting on the floor, then obviously, you know, with your bum on the floor as well. But if you're on a chair, then to feel your feet on the floor as well. And to allow your attention to come to your feet and to feel that contact with the floor, and allow your attention to move up through from your feet into your lower legs, and then above the knees into the upper legs and into the pelvis as well. Bringing your attention to the belly and the lower back. Into the chest and the upper back. And be aware of your shoulders and your arms, all the way down to your fingers. And become aware of your neck and your head. With that awareness, maybe you're noticing that something feels a little bit out of alignment, that maybe you're leaning forwards or backwards or to one side or the other. So making any small adjustments so that your feet sit directly underneath you and give you full support, that your pelvis sits directly over your heels and your shoulders sit directly over your pelvis, that your shoulders can relax and that your arms can hang down by your sides or rest in your lap if you're sitting down, and that your head is balanced on the top of your spine. And at this point, you might feel that you want to close your eyes if they have been open. But if you want to keep your eyes open, then please do so. And have a soft gaze. And also be aware of the space to your right and left, behind you and in front of you, above you and below you. And then relax the core muscles of the body, starting at the head. So the muscles in your forehead and around your eyes, the muscles around your jaw and your tongue. Relax your throat and your chest. And relax your belly as deeply as you can, so that it goes deeply into your pelvis, as deep as you can allow yourself to go. And with that relaxation, you might feel like your center of gravity going closer and closer to the floor. And that you may even feel the floor pushing you back up. And if you can't feel that, that's okay, but imagine it. So there's this pushing up direction so that you have length through your spine, that you feel upright and you feel dignified. And that it might help you to imagine that perhaps you're wearing a crown on your head, and that there is a cloak that's flowing over your shoulders and down your back onto the floor or towards the floor. And to allow yourself to bathe in this feeling of sovereignty, or your king or your queen, depending on how you would like to think of it. And that if you're sitting there, then to sit there in a dignified and stately way. And if you're standing, or you would like to stand, what you could do is you could begin to walk around your space in, again, a stately and dignified way. Feeling the crown on your head, so it encourages you to walk in a certain way, to walk slowly, to be regal in the way that you walk around the space, but also looking around the room, and to become aware of some of the qualities that you're noticing that are coming from you that embody that sovereign state. And then if you are moving around, to come to a standstill, just allow yourself to settle and to really take the benefit of this sovereign centering, this connection with the sovereign within. And then to take a moment to come back to the computer screen. And what I'd ask you to do is to put in the chat some of the qualities that you're noticing that showed up for you when you were in that sovereign embodiment. So writing in the chat, some of them I've already mentioned: upright, dignified, regal. But you might have noticed some other things as well. Yeah, confident, self-possession. Oh, I love that word. Strong, powerful. Yeah, calm, confidence. I felt centered. Yeah, calm, attentive. Yeah, I love that word as well. Yeah, strong, powerful, stable, calm. Yeah, it's often something that people report back when we do this, that there's this state of calm, this sense of a little bit of separation from the events that are going on in their lives, so that they can see it with more clarity. Yeah, peace with myself and with the world, rooted, confident, more calm. Felt amazing, proud, kind. Yeah, extending warmth to others. Yeah, beautiful, lovely, Danielle. Benevolent. What a great word. Yeah, yeah. I am the queen of my own self, relaxed, hopeful, assured, self-contained, potent, capable. Marvelous. Wonderful. Great. And there are more coming in, but I'm going to hand back over to Thea now to continue the process.
Yeah, beautiful. That was lovely. It always changes something for me, that little moment of embodying sovereign. And I love some of those characteristics that have come to people. Oh, I love that as well. Marisol, with no crown, I walked on a small field. With the crown, I felt I could have a bigger field. That's nice. And daring from Danielle. Lovely. So the next part that we're going to step into, if you'd like to join us, pen and paper is helpful here, or typing if you prefer that, or speaking, or any other way of expressing that is important to you. What we're going to do is to step into that sovereignty again, and then ask our sovereign self the question about what are the qualities of myself as a leader? What are the qualities of my sovereign leadership in the world? Unique to you, how you want it to be expressed, because it can be very different for different people. And then we want to encourage, first of all, a spirit of confidentiality here. So when we get to sharing what we get, that everybody is happy for the information they hear from anyone to stay in the room. So just be happy for you to indicate that you're up for some confidentially, but also that we're all sovereign. And so you take responsibility for how far you are in this, for how you grade the question. And if you have a more pertinent question, that you take responsibility for asking yourself that question rather than the one we've given you. By all means, adjust it in any way that works for you, including if that means sitting back and just witnessing for this time. And then also, when you get that voice coming through that is from your sovereign self, to go with what you get. Don't edit anything out. The real value comes with those first little bits of information and then following the flow of that, because this is your intuitive self speaking, and your intuitive self, your sovereign self, often sees the things that your kind of managed self pushes out of the picture. So once again, to step into this, we're going to give you
2-3 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 minutes of writing. I'm afraid our time is very limited. We're going to give you 3 minutes of writing. So just take a moment with me again to step back into that sovereign embodiment. You can do it seated this time to facilitate the speed of the process. Do stand up if you'd prefer, obviously. Feel your feet on the floor. Once again, connect with your bottom on the seat, your back straight but relaxed, your shoulders set at that kind of relaxed but upright posture, your head kind of nicely balanced and not, you know, not sovereign up here, but sovereign looking out into the world. And if it helps your focus, you can close your eyes and take a breath and let it go. And into the space that you've now created in your awareness, into that sovereign embodiment that you've just adopted, ask the question, what are the qualities of my sovereign leadership that I would love to bring to life in the world? And whatever you get, capture it in some way, writing, expressing it to yourself. And we'll give you 3 minutes and just keep connecting in. If the information dries up, then reconnect with your sovereign embodiment, ask the question again, or deepen or change the question. Okay. And sorry to bring you back if you're deep in flow with your sovereign self, but remember, this is your resource, so you can go back to it anytime. It's there available to you, but we would love to give you a few moments in breakout rooms to debrief together. If you'd like to join a room and share your observations with somebody else, it's part of the dialogue sessions that we run very regularly, and it's a very, very deeply valued part of those sessions. So we're going to form some breakout rooms. David, have you got some breakout rooms ready?
Yes.
Helen's done it.
So we've got some breakout rooms ready. I'm afraid we can only, again, give you 3 minutes in the breakout room. So please make sure you share that time around and listen with your sovereignty. Listen from your sovereignty. So our guidance in those sessions is no fixing, no advice. You're there to witness and give somebody a space to deepen their own awareness of what they got. So if you'd like to join a breakout room, now's the time. And we'll bring you back in 3 minutes. I'm going to hand back to David to bring us to a close.
Very good. Okay, great. So, Greta, I've just seen you. Wonderful. Welcome. So just in the chat, really briefly, anything that surprised you, anything that delighted you, anything that was an insight for you that was yeah, interesting for you about the process. We find time and time and time again the opportunity to kind of share a little bit and actually speak out what you've learned and experienced is a really powerful thing. Yeah, yeah, I'm afraid even in my queenness, you were on your own, but yes, wonderful. I'm glad you felt your queenness. Great. So while people are writing that, just to repeat that, uh, we are going to be running a series of sessions that are exactly like this, but they're an hour long. So a bit more spacious, a bit more focused. And we did 12 weeks of them at the end of last year, and they were really, really successful. People wanted to do more. So we've set up another 12 sessions starting on Tuesday next week. So that link that Helen put in the chat takes you to the Eventbrite page that gives you all the information that you need. You can sign up for free, but we're asking people to do the sessions by donation. So, you know, whatever it is that you feel comfortable about. And I'm going to scroll to the bottom of the thing. Yeah, the quality was kindness. That surprised you. Oh gosh, everything's moving so fast. I like that what lady was sharing was actually the opposite polarity of what I was sharing, which is also what I need, that balance of yin and yang. Yeah, sovereignty, your expression of sovereignty is so uniquely you. So that's wonderful. Yeah, the link's gone in again. I realize that I'm living my sovereign ideal right now. I just have to be more grateful. Yeah, wonderful. Utterly beautiful and easy to do all the time. Ongoing practice takes great courage to embody, and I feel I deserve that. Yeah, and practice helps me to actually deepen the feeling of worthiness and accept it. Beautiful. Confirm my growing sense of shifting to gentle qualities. So important. Compassion. So important. Inspiration, creativity, spirituality. Wonderful. Yeah, interesting technique, being tossed around between empty rooms, more challenging. Yeah, I feel great compassion, sure of self and purpose. Yeah, wonderful. Really great feedback. Great. So it sounds like generally people enjoyed it. Like I say, we are offering these sessions so you can go into it more deeply and get more embedded in the process and the technique. So we're here till 1:45. So we can open the floor to any questions. So if anyone would like to unmute themselves or to write any questions in the chat that we can answer, Thea and I will do our best to do that. And of course, if you've got any questions about the festival, then I'm sure Helen and Virginia can give you those answers as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
if
please
that
unmute
would be
yourself.
great. I don't think people can unmute themselves actually, so because there's so many people, but you can raise your electronic hand or you can drop questions into the chat. But just while you're doing that, because it tends to take a minute for people to formulate the question and then write it in the chat, a reminder that we have Miles Kessler coming up next. He's actually lurking in the background, but he is coming up next, and that will be a real treat. I'm just going to share my screen again so that you can see what else is coming.
Miles really is wonderful. Like his
Yes.
sessions are so deep and profound, and I'm not just saying that because he might be in the room.
No, it's true.
It
So we've
is
got
true.
Miles at 12 with 3 organizing principles of embodied spirituality. Then Vanessa Schultz, stage time, be yourself when being seen. And then more sessions through the rest of the day. But there is still another day, another full day tomorrow. So please do still share this with your friends. And also remember that the course that is coming up is the certificate of embodiment coaching, which is a 6-month course to hone your skills as an embodiment coach. I'll stop the share and we can add that link back into the chat and see if there's any questions, which I think there are. I was apologizing for moving people around. Thank you, Leah. A recommendation here in the chat for the sovereign dialogue sessions, very deep process. Thank you for that, Greta. Any other questions? If anybody wants to wave wildly at the screen, we can also unmute you. When does the event start, David, Ossia?
So the first session is going to be next Tuesday, the 21st of January. And that will be at 7 o'clock UK time. And then
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Yeah. And then the next session will be on Thursday, the 23rd, and that will be at 1 p.m. UK time. And the sessions, we're just doing them in different times, but all the sessions stand alone. So come to one, come to many, change the day that you're coming. You know, there's no flow between one session and the next. They all just stand alone, so you can enjoy the benefit of connecting with your own sovereign on every single one. So if you just sign up once, then that gives you the link, an email with the link to the sessions, and then you just turn up whenever you want to and are able to do so.
We also then follow it up with a Facebook Live that I think is Thursdays at 5, is it?
Yes.
Moving forwards. And that's where we kind of, if things have come up in that dialogue session, David and I then deepen our own explanations or explorations of it in those Facebook Lives. But just wanted to share with you that a lot of our work that we develop now comes from our sovereign dialogue work. So for both of us, it's a deep source of inspiration, of new ideas, of new direction, and of reformatting our own ways of being in the world. So when something happens that you're finding yourself reacting to, then it's great to do yourself a quick little sovereign dialogue session, say, what do I really think about this? And it kind of tends to open everything up and reframe it from a more from the perspective of your wholeness, really. So it's a super valuable way to spend a bit of time. We call it a 1-hour retreat twice a week. So it's time to be with yourself and get your own wisdom downloaded and out into the world.
Yeah.
What were the other archetypes and how specifically are they accessed through the sovereign? Great, Judith. The other ones were that we work with mostly are lover, warrior, and magician. And we access those with different embodiment techniques. So lover can be quite both a receptive sitting back, softening of chest, opening of arms, or a forward kind of giving, being connected from your heart space. Warrior can be much more kind of focused, direct stances. Magician, often very up in the all, in the magic and the mystery of life. So we've developed a number of stances that we find really helpful to access those archetypes, and we bring them into our work now as they show up, really. I don't know if you want to add anything there, David.
Yeah, and so the idea of sovereign is that sovereign is the kind of as Thea said earlier, like a portal to the others. So you can be in that sovereign embodiment that we practiced in the session, and then maybe put your hand over your heart. I think I saw somebody doing that as they were standing as well. So kind of intuitively, we tend to know these things, and putting your hand to your heart connects you more to the lover archetype. Some people might put their hand on their belly, so that can often connect them to the warrior archetype, but it can also connect them to magician. So again, it's sort of like finding the unique ways that you can access, say, the lover qualities of sovereign or the magician qualities of sovereign, because there's that connection amongst all of them.
And Zanea asks, what if it works in a calm state, but what if I'm in action state, for example, going live and sharing my work in front of people? I would find that sovereign centering just really useful for that, Zanea. That sense of taking a moment to bring myself into me and reconnect with my vision for that session through sovereign. But again, you might find that you get a sense that actually you need a bit more get up and go, in which case I would step into a bit of warrior, or you want to be in really listening mode, in which case I'd invite in a bit more lover into my embodiment. So again, it depends on the situation, but there's generally something for anything that you need once you have your own familiarity with them and how they work for you.
Yeah, and it also sounds like there's an opportunity there for some practice. So building your capacity to stay in that sovereign state in more and more and more challenging situations. So that's one of the things that Keck is really, really great at, is it gives people the tools to be able to do that. And we would encourage that as well. So you're building your capacity over time. Yeah. And again, Judith, yeah, I can see how they're a portal. The qualities came up for me in the Sovereign Dialogue. Yeah, like this stuff just very much happens quite organically. And one of the things that's great about writing as you're doing it is it gives you focus and it allows you to get down the ideas, and then the ideas can move on and they can begin to morph and evolve and develop um, in a single session, but also across many sessions too. Great, Judith. Yeah, finding this super valuable and useful. If I can make it, I will. Yeah, great. Thank you. It'd be lovely to have you on the calls. Great. Anyone else?
Just while people are thinking, that was such a wonderful session and insight into it. And you can see from the faces in the room as well of what people gained from it. Questions, sorry, when and where. I will put that link in again. You are.
So Danielle, there's
Yes,
a
the
link for you to
sessions.
register. Sorry, David, you go.
Yeah, so the Eventbrite link that Helen's just put in there, it'll take you to the Eventbrite page. It gives you all the information. You can sign up for it for free, and then you'll get an email that will give you the link for the call, and any questions that you might have, then there's a way of being able to reach out to me directly, and then I'll be able to answer any questions that you might have if they've not been answered in the bump that you get.
And sessions, once again, will be Tuesdays at 7 p.m. UK time and Thursdays at 1 p.m. UK time.
Exactly.
Good to have that mixture.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've been playing around with the timings, and it's just still an ongoing experiment to see what works for people, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we started doing this work back in 2020. And the whole archetypes thing was something that came up for me in my EFC training. It was like the recorded exam that I did was all part of that, and I got a lot of encouragement from the EFC teachers to expand that work. And so one of the things that I was going to do was kind of like expand out and kind of go into lots and lots and lots and lots of different archetypes. But what felt much truer was to keep it actually relatively small. And as the work has evolved, it feels like it's actually really kind of collapsed into this kernel of sovereignty and being able to access different qualities of the sovereign archetype, like lover, magician, and warrior as well. And that just seems to really beautifully cover it with embodiment. And I've not seen many people that do archetypes with embodiment, and it's just a very quick, accessible access point that people can get to with relative ease. And it isn't challenging to do that. And you can develop the awareness as you practice more and more and more.
So just for the purposes of the recording, when David mentions EFC, it's the Embodied Facilitator Training, which was the course that then developed onto Keck during the pandemic.
Thank you for that, Virginia. I've put the link for Keck again in the chat, but yes, if people can't see that in the recording. Well, thank you both very much. Any last words? Or people in the Zoom room, what is your takeaway? If you could drop that in the chat, that would be lovely for Thea and David to read. And any last words from you, Thea and David?
Yeah, I want to just thank everybody for coming and Embodiment Unlimited for this opportunity to share work that we're really passionate about with you all. I honestly, once again, I stepped into Sovereign and got a new aspect of my sovereignty to think about and reflect on and bring into the world today. So it's so very rich, and I hope some of you will be able to join some of our sessions. We've made them as accessible as we can, so we'd love to see you again in the future.
Yep. Great. And yeah, so the thing that I would say is that this sovereign dialogue process for me is something that I've been doing for 5 years. I just started doing it as like a natural extension of my writing practice. And the embodiment piece of it just brought a real richness. And it's almost like I get this kind of parallel tracking where I'm having all of these feelings and sensations in my body that then inspire the writing, and then the writing inspires the feeling, and there's this kind of beautiful flow back and forth. So I share this with a real genuine desire to want to share it with people, and a real confidence that I know it can make a really big difference. And I know that for myself personally, but also, feedback from other people that have attended sessions. So I hope some of you will join us in that journey. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you both so much. There's some lovely comments. I hope you see those before we end, because people have taken so much from this session. Thank you very much, everybody. If you would like to unmute and say goodbye, and then we're going to have a little pause before the next session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Everybody.
Thank you.
See you.